This video is about how to save your files out of Creative Cloud and into Drive. The first thing that you need to do is you need to know that Drive cannot look at or open AI files, which is Illustrator, or Photoshop files, which is PSD. So to start, we'll start in Illustrator. The first thing you need to do is you have to open up your files in Illustrator. Notice that right now they are AIC files, which means that they are Illustrator Creative Cloud files. To save your file, open the file you want to change to something that you can save to Drive. Once you do that, there are two ways to save files. The first way is to save as. Now, Illustrator can only save certain files under the Save As kind of window, and your basic choices to save are going to be AI or PDF. So notice I have mine saving to the desktop. If you're on a Chromebook, you're going to save to the Downloads folder, which should automatically save to your Drive. Okay, make sure that you're saving the correct file. So go to a PDF and then leave anything in this next window and just hit Save PDF. Once you have this, you can double check on your desktop if you're on a PC or on a Mac, and it should have the file extension behind it that should say the name of the file and then PDF. The second way to save a file is as a JPEG or a TIFF file. Basically what you want to do is you have to go to Export, Export As, and then you can save as a PNG file, a JPEG, or a TIFF file. JPEG files saved in Illustrator may only save the shapes that you have. It's not going to save the total artboard, so do remember that. And TIFF files are going to be bigger files that save the layers. If you're going to save as a JPEG, please make sure you change it to RGB. You change the JPEG to the maximum size that's allowed. If you want to print it out, you'll have to put it as 300 ppi. If you want to save it as screen resolution, you're going to go to 72 dpi. Okay, then hit save. This again should go to your desktop or to the Downloads folder in your Drive on the Chromebook, and it should have the extension behind the file. This one says JPEG, the other one says PDF. This is now the way that you have to send out any projects in Illustrator. Now we're going to move on to Photoshop. First thing you need to do is you need to open up Photoshop and then find the file that you want to save. So a majority of the Photoshop files that we have done are going to be composited. You're probably going to have layers on these. There are two ways to save Photoshop files. I'm going to choose my painting here of Eddie Vedder so that you can see that it has several layers on it. What you want to do is you want to turn on the layers that you want to save. Once you do that, there is basically one way to do this. Go to Save As, make sure you're saving to your computer or to the Downloads file, and what you want to do is you want to save this as something other than a Photoshop file. In order to see this in Drive after you are done with Photoshop, you need to save it as a different kind of file. You have two choices, JPEG or TIFF. JPEG, what that's going to do is it's going to flatten all your layers. So if you have layers that you don't want flattened, meaning you don't want the drawing on your painting file, then I would not save as a JPEG. Here's what happens when you say that. If I save, notice that all of the layers are going to disappear. There they are. They're now just one layer. There is no separating them again. Make sure if you're going to save it as a JPEG, you leave it at the maximum file and then you hit OK. I do not want to save this as a flattened layer, so I'm going to cancel. The only other way to save this to retain the layers is to save to your computer and save as a TIFF file. Now a TIFF file is going to be 3 times larger. So once you hit save, then you're going to get this menu. Just hit OK, don't change anything. It's going to ask you if you want this big of a file because it has layers. Yes, you do. Hit OK, and then you can save your layers on your Photoshop files. If you're okay with flattening, then that is totally different. Behind this file should be the title and then the extension TIFF or TIF. That is a TIFF file. Once you have everything from Photoshop, then you are going to open up Drive, and you should be able to just import or throw in the files that you want to save. If you're on the Chromebook, those are already going to be into your Drive under your Downloads folder. So you can just download straight to that folder, and then you can skip this step. If you downloaded to your computer, you're going to need to upload to Drive in order to save them. Find the files on your computer and then just hit upload. Once all 3 of the green check marks on these 3 projects are done, go ahead and you can double check it, or once those check marks are there, it means that you have saved your stuff. I would save everything to Drive. Make sure you have a copy of everything before your Photoshop license runs out. Remember that the cloud portion of Creative Cloud is going to be erased when you lose the license at the end of the trimester. Okay, that is it. If you have any further questions, ask your instructor.